Shit. Okay, I think that's long enough. So this video, first of all, I just showed you basically what I think is the best playstyle for this build, which means you do whatever. You are, AFK in Simulacrum or whatever content, you can stand still, like Ultimatum or something like that. Personally, Simulacrum is probably perfect for the playstyle. This build can be able to do much more, not just Simulacrum, but it's just, the very chill thing that people can do, while they are doing something else on second monitor or something like that. You can watch Netflix, you can work, whatever. And I just showed you basically is the last wave of a Simulacrum. It does take a little bit, right? But yeah, let's get to the build guide. I'm going to try to go quickly. And for this build guide in particular, I am going to go through the POE setup for 4 total POE. Oh shit, this is the wrong one. Alright, this is the right one. I'm going to go through this 4 POEs. Going to be this one, the first one, level 75. I believe this is the point where you can switch to playing this build, and it's going to be relatively smooth. This version is going to be able to do like probably up to tier 16 normal. Maybe you can do a little bit of delirium, beyond stuff, strong bosses, whatever, ultimatum you can do with this build. You will still die, here and there with this version. It's not going to be immortal or anything, even with the current version, I'm still, very rarely, but sometimes die as well. The second version, is going to be the first version where I think you can start to do like AFK Simulacrum until like wave 30. And for this version, you can also run like a lot of Inscribed Ultimatum as long as it's not Drought or, high level Ruin that can just ruin the Ultimatum. But mostly from the time I get this version going, what I do is I go to Simulacrum and just AFK in there because it's a very chill playstyle that I enjoy. Not necessarily for a huge amount of currency, but it's a playstyle that I enjoy. Very chill. Next one. This POE is the current version that I'm running. It's what you just saw on the demonstration in the beginning of the video. I am having like 2 mirrors into this character, around 2 mirrors. Probably a little bit more than 2 mirrors. Because this ring already is like 600 divine when I bought it. I'm not sure how much it's worth right now, but the total cost is probably a little bit more than 2 mirrors. and this is a special version that is gonna be the best of the best. Is probably like costing like 20 mirrors, because you can see here I have 4 of the 1 passive voices. I am probably will never reach this version, but yeah, I just want to show what is possible, right? Let's go through the explanation. So for the beginner version, the budget for this character, I would say by my estimation, is probably around 15 divine at the minimum. 20 divine is comfortable to get this going. And first of all, it's going to be the Defiance of Destiny. By the way, this is my Defiance Destiny I'm wearing. You don't need the maximum roll for the beginner version. You are recommended to get a high roll whenever you do harder content, but for the beginner version, you don't need it. Just get a cheapest Defiance of Destiny on the market. Let me see actually how much is this worth. If you don't care about any roll, yeah, around 3 divine, which is a very fair price for this amulet. I'm glad that more people can actually afford it right now. So that is 3 divine. The other 2 core items are the Consuming Dart. This is uncorrupted. You can have corrupted or whatever. Just have them as a base weapon, and they are 1C each, 1 chaos each. So you don't care about the roll or anything. Maybe you want to get a little bit more intelligence on the intelligence roll. That will be helpful with gear progression. So try to get them. And then upgrade them to like the corrupted version later with a nice implicit. Next one, Delirium. I would recommend to get Cannot Be Ignited, because Delirium with Cannot Be Ignited is very cheap. The reason why it is very cheap is because the Fulcrum version with Chieftain, if you cannot be ignited, that means you cannot reflect the ignite to yourself. That is going to break the Fulcrum build. So Fulcrum is probably the only other character in the game is using the Delirium. The majority of them are Fulcrum, and they cannot be ignited. So that is why the Cannot Be Ignited is so cheap right now. If you can grab one for cheap, go ahead, grab one. That is very, very nice. That is the 3rd core item. I need to explain a little bit. This amulet is for tankiness. Just know that. This weapon is for converting fire damage, which is the detonate data chain reaction, our main skill, to chaos damage, so it can poison. That is the purpose of the weapons. This ring is for stun threshold, is based on energy shield instead of life. We have a very small amount of energy shield, so basically most of the hit in the game is gonna stun us and therefore trigger a bunch of things, including first of all blood notch, so every hit that is stunning you is gonna recoup, and second, very important, is gonna proc, of course, cast when stun, which is the main thing that we are using to proc every single skill in this build, which, you know, makes this build a 0 button build. Or, you know, 1 button, which is the flame dash, which is the movement skill. Normally people don't count that into the number of buttons, right? On the other unique, the Inextricable Fate is not mandatory unique. It is very cheap, and it is quite good extra layer of less damage taken with the Grasping Vine. If you don't know, the Grasping Vine, 1 Grasping Vine will give you 1% less damage taken, and also 2% to deal double damage. With that is not important. Main thing we care about is less damage taken with the Grasping Vine and the Nature's Patient here, Nature's Affinity, the small cluster jewel. We are having up to 20% less damage taken globally. Applied to all kind of damage, applied to damage over time as well. Very, very nice. I think this is a very good budget option, very good budget setup that is going to help you tank the game. Next item. These are not like mandatory, by the way, but I would recommend to get them because they are very cheap and quite effective. I have used them for a very long time. If you don't have enough like resistances and life from the rare gears, right, then you may, you know, switch out the boot for, you know, rare boot life resistances. So it's less, you know, gear intensive for the glove, ring, and helmet, which is the rare gear. The belt also is nice. I would recommend to get this one. It is like 3 divine for this 3 utility charges per 3 seconds. It is basically the same thing as the Pathfinder Ascendancy. So you have the Pathfinder Ascendancy for more flash charges, and then you have this. Basically, you have a lot of flash charges every 3 seconds, and that will help you to sustain any flash that is utility, that has like increased charges recovery, increased duration, reduced charges use, and also, when you're fighting, the mod here, gain 3 charges whenever you get hit by an enemy, also works as well. So you will have infinite sustain of charges for flash, and you will have 100% of time all the flashes. This is very nice to have. I highly recommend you to do this one before you can get a Mage Blood, which is the endgame version of a belt slot. You can also use a rare belt with life, but I would recommend for a rare belt, you definitely should have at least like increased flash duration or reduced flash charges use, because it helps with sustain all the flash here. And we are relying on the flash in order to have maximum resistances and cap resistant. So it is very important for probably, I would say I would highly recommend this spell, right? It's not too expensive, especially this league, because the divine is very cheap, 100 divine per 100 chaos per divine. So this is considered a very cheap option in my opinion, like in this point of the league. The rare, the body armor. The body armor, I am using the doppelgangers, guys. In my opinion, with the testing, with the actual playing in the game that I have done so far, this is probably the best option. It is very good against damage over time. It is good enough against hits. If you are dying to true one shot more often than you think you are dying to damage over time, then Cloak of Flame is going to be your choice for body armor. But these two, basically function as an extra layer of defense. Doppelgangers, guys, is going to be better against a lot of damage over time effect in the game. And Cloak of Flame is going to be a little bit better in terms of mitigating like physical hit. So you are less vulnerable to actually be one-shotted, right? The other rare gear, the only thing that I want to mention on the helmet is going to be, you should try to get the percent of physical damage taken from hits, taken as lightning or fire as the, explicit roll on the item here. And also, of course, roll the Eldritch modifier as for extra damage taken as lightning, fire, or chaos. Don't get taken as cold. Please don't get taken as cold. Right. Life resistances otherwise, some attributes if you need them for wearing your gear. That is everything you want on the rare gear. And so, I want to talk about the flask a little bit as well. What you want on the flask, right? It doesn't matter if you have the exact flask like this one. Just so you know, you need 3 things on this flask. First of all is reduced effect of shock for the version. Reduced effect of shock. So with the flask effect, with the uptime of the flask, you will be basically immune to shock. Second, reduce duration of freeze and reduce effect of chill. That is the second role that is gonna solve, chills and freeze for you. The last one is gonna be reduce effect of curses, and you want to be probably immune to curses. So you want that, and with the flash uptime, with the flash effect, you are gonna be effectively immune to curses, which is very nice. Also, one other thing. This one is a role that I recommend to newer player that is starting this build with not very high budget. So increased block and stunt recovery, it is the exact same thing as what you have. Oh, 1 second, I forgot. I think this is a mistake. We should have the immutable force right in here instead of 1 rare jewel here. I think I have made a little bit of a mistake in the POE, but you need immutable force. And if you have this immutable force, not a very high roll, for example, this one here, only over 800, you probably should have a flask that is increased block and stun recovery. And that will help you to reach a higher threshold of block and stun recovery. Anything above 961% and over is good. Just know that mechanically, why, you don't need to understand. Just know that it is the optimal number, right? And then, of course, this Quicksilver versus 2 map, because in this state of this character, I think we should still be mapping, pretty much. Okay, so come to the gem slot, to the skill gem setup. So currently, the best setup for the detonated of chain reaction in this stage is going to be detonated of chain reaction. Cruelty, added cast damage, doesn't need to be awakened. Cast when stunned, of course, cast when stunned, you want to give it quality. The more quality, the more chance that you will proc the skill. So I would recommend you to get quality on cast when stunned, especially the quality on cast when stunned with detonated of chain reaction and with desecrate over here. You would want quality. Unbound ailment, awaken if you can afford. Without awaken is okay. Elemental focus, also if you want to, you can awaken. This is just literally the setup that I got at this level. So you have some awaken, some not awaken here. But if you have the budget, get awaken. If you don't, the normal version is fine. Right. Next setup I want to talk is cast when stunned, link to desecrate. You only need level 20 desecrate. You don't need level 21 here. Is also cheap anyway, but you only need level 20 because level 20 already summoned level 100 corpses maximum, so you don't need extra level. And linked to spell cascade, this is very important. This allows desecrate in one cast, in one trigger, to summon up to 10 corpses instead of just 5. Punishment is going to be the curse of choice here. It helps defensively. It makes the enemies debilitate, which makes them deal less damage, 20%, which is very nice. Also, when they fall under 50% health, they will take increased damage, and it's very good amount. The next sub, cast when stunned, withering step, and feeble immortal coil. This is very, very tanky for enfeeble. Why enfeeble with punishment? Because you would like to allocate Whisper of Doom here. It costs 3 golden oil, which is roughly a divine right now, I think, maybe a divine and a half, but I think it's worth it because enfeeble to the setup along with punishment will help your character to be much more tanky, because whenever you get hit by one thing, it will cast the enfeeble and the punishment, then the enemy's already dealing like 40-50% less damage, which is very, very nice. Withering step is here because it will help you to apply more wither stack. This is the best way to apply more wither stacks, basically. Immortal Coil is the guard skill of choice, and I will explain a little bit why I take Immortal Coil in the next session with the skill, skill tree. I'm using Vitality level 1 just to trigger the Watcher's Eye effect over here, right? The thing that we need from the Watcher's Eye, and this is very mandatory. I think it's currently like 6 to 8 divine. Is a little bit expensive for new players, but I think it's a fair price to have. We need the life gain per enemy hit while affected by vitality. This will give a huge amount of recovery for this build. So vitality level 1 just to trigger this effect. And Petrified Blood is the second gem to cast when stunned that I would recommend you to have as much quality on it as possible. It is extra mitigation. Short version of explanation. Flame Dash as a standalone skill, just for extra movement, for movement skill. The cast when stunned setup with Tornado of Elemental Turbulence and Cremation of the Volcano here. These two spells, the main thing is they generate a lot of hits per second, so we can have more health gain per hit. Right, basically this is the thing that we need from this. The Tornado of Elemental Turbulence, right? I want to show you a little bit in the game here. It also gives you enemies in range are hindered. And hinder, what we want hinder for, it is to basically enable the Touch of Cruelty, which is a notable skill that we are using in the Cluster Jewel in this version over here. This is quite cheap combo of Cluster Jewel as well. The time I bought it is like 40 to 50 chaos. Right now might be a little bit more expensive, but it's very easy one to just like grab a Cluster Jewel that is increase chaos damage and reforge chaos a couple times in the harvest to get it. So it's not going to be expensive, and it's going to be easy to craft yourself as well. So Touch Cruelty, if enemies is hindered, they take 10% increased chaos damage, and 2 of them 20% increased taken damage. So Tornado Elemental Turbulence is very nice for these purposes. The last gem setup, Plague Bearer Automation. This is going to help with mapping, with consistency of damage you are dealing to characters around when you just walk by, right? Sometimes you just kill the enemies yourself, itself with the Plague Bearer. I think it's a good one to get while mapping. It also helps you to break the barrels, the urns, things that you walk by on the ground that might be dropping something good, maybe, who knows, divine orb, maybe even mirrors. People have got it, maybe we got it as well. Enduring Cry to call to arms is just automate the Enduring Cry, so every once in a while, like 8 seconds or something, you will have a bunch of regeneration that is going to save your ass a lot of times, actually. Also, it helps to generate the endurance chargers. Okay, is there anything else that I didn't mention in the gear? So this already mentioned. Just please remember, one of this jewel is actually immutable force. This is just a template of the rare jewel that you would want, like life, poison duration is the best one, probably the best. Increased damage to poison is okay, damage over time is okay, multi or increased, everything is okay, right? Just basically any jewel slot that is left over that you don't have anything on yet, try to get life on it. Maybe life resistant is okay as well, life attribute is okay as well. Just anything that you actually need on your character, basically, because you will have different rare gear than what I have here, so you might need different things. On this skill tree, I would like to go into, oh, I didn't even have path building open. Okay, 1 second here. On this skill tree, this is the min-max version. I would like to bring up the, this one is a version. I save it as 10 to 15 div, but I will advertise it at 15 to 20 div, just to get more wiggle room, basically. If you are really smart with your money, you can get this going for cheaper, basically. Let me see the skill tree. Yeah, it is the skill tree here, right? So the thing that we are having is blood magic, grab blood magic, and grab Lethe Shade, and then along the traveling, just try to get life, some poison stuff in these 2 wheels, right? Some suppression. This is a character level 75. You are able to have 2 cluster jewel as well, as you see here, touch cruelty, as I mentioned earlier. And then unspeakable gift. This is going to help with clearing in maps, because it's just basically occultist explosion. With 2 of them, you already almost have the exact same as occultist explosion. Iron reflex. And one thing that I want to mention that is worth mentioning, basically other things are very basic. The mastery that I take here is immune to bleeding, well equipped helmet has higher armor than evasion. Just make sure that your helmet have higher armor than evasion. It can be a pure armor base. It has 0 evasion, it will still work. So you want, this is the best way to get immune to bleeding early on. And so yeah, it helps a little bit with resistances as well, so I think it's nice. As you can see here, this version is very, very budget friendly in the chat, in the sense of I even take this because I didn't have enough strength. So to release some pressure on the gear, you can take this, and later when you have better gear, you can remove it, right? So this is what you want to take. The mastery, reduce extra damage from crit. This is immune to poison. This is enemy poison, but you cannot do a critical strike. Why do I take this along with the reduced crit damage? Because this character only hit the enemy whenever the enemy already hit you. So that first initial hit can be a crit, and if that is a crit, I would want to reduce some damage. And just being extra safe here. Because there's a lot of maps where a monster have extra crit multi, crit chance, so that can happen, and you will die, and if you die, you will not feel great. Okay, I will probably, if you don't have enough suppression, you have like something like probably a 50-60%, I would recommend you to also take the chance to suppress spell damage is lucky, and only remove it whenever you have 100% suppression. You will not be having all these tattoos. This is, I forgot to remove it, but it is from the late game version where you have all the exceed dexterity and basically all the exceed attribute to be tattooed for suppression. for life regen for the strength, and for, you know, chaos damage for the intelligence. But this is basically the skill tree. It's very easy to follow. The only other mastery I didn't show is the life mastery here for 50 life. Yeah. So, also this mastery, less damage taken, 4 damage over time. Very, very cool. I need to change the jewel here. Yeah, in this version, I already have the mutable force. Let me actually just generate this linked and replace the links over here. So we actually have a good link that I can show in the description of the video as well. I will leave the link to all this version in the description, by the way. Okay, let's go quickly on the other versions. So this one, nothing changes on gear. The only change, the major change to this upgrade is going to be an adorned setup. And the adorned is going to upgrade this build, to upgrade this character like hugely. It's going to like give you like way more health and like more than double the damage, basically. What you want for the adorned setup is a relatively cheap adorn. This is going to be the extra budget to, you know, make the character go to like 50 divine in budget. This one is going to be like 5 divine on average for the 100. You would need like more than 100% only, so it might be even cheaper. This one I bought for 5 divine or 6 divine, I remember correctly. But if you lower the roll to like 100%, that is, you know, acceptable for the cheap adorned setup. You can upgrade the roll later, of course. 3 of the voices with 5 passive skill points. This is the acceptable voices that we can use. The 7 passive is dog shit, and the 3 passive is 400 divine, which is way too expensive. So 5 passive is sweet spot over here in terms of balance of power and then spending. And so I use 3 of them. On each of them, there will be a rare jewel, that there will be a magic jewel that is corrupted. The best one is going to be life and chance to poison and poison duration. That is the hybrid roll for poison. That is not only going to give a chance to poison, but also poison duration is also damage for poison build. If you don't know, you can have increased damage with poison as well. This is going to be much cheaper, increased damage to poison, than the chance and poison duration. So early on, if the life and poison duration here is too expensive, just get all the life and damage with poison. It's like 20 to 30 chaos for each of these, so it's not too bad. Also, if you can get corrupted blood on somewhere. This is what I got here. I got here because I crafted all this jewel myself. It takes like 5 hours of alteration spending, alteration spamming. It's painful, right? Just buy them. But if you make them, you have a fair chance of hitting corrupted blood cannot be inflicted because you corrupt so many jewels. Just try to put in 1 corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you, even if it might be a rare jewel somewhere. You can replace them later, right? This is going to be very expensive. It was on my character, so I show it, but this can be a rare jewel. It's not going to be the end of the world. You lose out on some life, some damage, but corrupted blood immunity is very important. We hit so many times that we are going to be, you know, absolutely crushed by corrupted blood. Yeah, so that is the adorned. You can remove the nature's affinity here as well. So you have 1 more magic jewels. Magic jewel is going to be stronger than this at this point. Blood notch still, immutable force still, Watcher's Eye still. This is the same, right? This is the major change to the adorned version, and with this version comes a change in the gem setup. Because right now with this version, we are going to do like harder content. So the cruelty support, as you see here, is not going to be good anymore because the hit damage is not high enough to get cruelty to maximum cruelty effect, which is going to give 40% damage over time. So we switch this version to Awaken Deadly Element, or, you know, Deadly Element. At this point, you should be able to get Awakened version already, because these all are not expensive Awakened. You can just buy a level 1 and just level it yourself. If you do like Simulacrum, you have a lot of experience. Right. There's nothing else that is changed. Oh, okay, one thing that has changed. For this version with the Adorned, from my testing, I feel like I'm tanky enough without Enfeeble, so I'm gonna use Despair in this case. And that is gonna improve the damage significantly for this particular version. Right, just keep in mind the chest slot is still invisible because there is some weird bug with POE.in. It doesn't show the art of the doppelgangers guys, but it's still safe, right? Oh, best corruption for chest is going to be reduced damage taken from crit, in my opinion, and then maybe 1% maximum resistance. So that is everything for this version. As you can see here. Next one. Oh, there's one thing that I want to mention. I forgot. I should mention this earlier. The DPS number of the POBs here, I would say, is not reliable to depend on. I am setting up the DPS number based on this enemy corpse life 70,000. I did not invent this number. I got it from watching Ventur's guide on the detonate death chain reaction Inquisitor Cock character. That is a meta build right now, and I still use I use the same number as what he suggested. So if the actual amount of damage depend on this one, if the real number is different, there's no way we can actually check that. If the real number is different, it's gonna change the damage. So the only thing that I'm gonna say is we are gonna be dependent on the actual feel in the game, on certain situation to see if the damage is enough or not enough. So get that out of the way. Also, cast when stunned rely on enemy hitting us. So if the enemy do not hit our character frequent, that means also less damage. There's nothing we can do about it, right? These numbers, I just set it up to look nice because, you know, it looks nicer, more attractive. But warning, in game, not all the time you will have this number. Okay, so this is the version that I am currently playing. I got lucky with a voices 1 passive drop, so I have like 2.5 mirror from selling it, and so I have upgraded this build with probably around 2 mirrors worth of gear, mostly Original Sin, Mage Blood, and a high roll Adorned. And so yeah, basically nothing else changed. Oh, with the Original Sin, we can replace a gem, which is the Awakened Added Chaos, with Awakened Void Manipulation. That is going to be an improvement only if you use Original Sin, because now you have 100% of your elemental damage converted to Chaos. And next one, because this version we reached the dot cap with Original Sin, so the Deadly Element is not going to be very helpful. I changed it to Vile Toxin here. The Vile Toxin is going to both give some poison damage, which is just enough, and then also give a bunch of hit damage. The Deadly Element is going to reduce the hit damage by 80% less, so that is going to be quite detrimental. And this setup is going to yield overall more damage, overall, because you also have a bunch of hit damage as well from the corpse's explosion. Yeah, the rare gear is nicer. I crafted them myself or buy them. You know, it's just nicer. And also because Mage Blood, the flask change. The honorable mention for the flask is gonna be Topaz Flask over here with life regen. So this is very nice. And also because I upgraded my jewels, I have a lot of recoup, so I removed the blood notch. And because I have some of the implicit here that's reduced effect of shock, you can also have 1 jewel that is life and 35% reduced effect of shock as the normal roll, and then you already deal with shock. What it allowed me is to change the shock immunity flask into immunity to bleeding and corrupted blood. And that also helped me to remove the mastery for bleeding immunity here. So that is the nice upgrade for this version. And last but not least, okay, we still use like 5 passive forces here, right? Because upgrade to 3 passive is going to be 400 divine per jewel. And 1 passive is going to be 2.53 mirrors per joule. And we are gonna see the one passive voices version over here. This is the utmost, like most expensive thing I've ever seen. For one passive voices, because we save up a bunch of skill point from the 5 passive voice change to 1, so we can afford to get another passive voices. As here, we reach over this side and get another one, so we can fit in 3 modules. That is the adorned. And of course, I change the weapon into the like GG crafted scepter over here, as you can see here. Right, very hard to craft, I think. So just to quickly show the numbers on this version, this is the numbers, right? This is the damage numbers, and this is the life number. We reach just perfectly over 10k, which is a nice thing to do. And so that is everything I actually want to show you in this video. If you have any question, feel free to drop it in the comment section, or you can join my Discord. Ask me on stream. I also stream on Twitch. I leave all the links in the description, including of the 4 POBs here. 4 versions of the POBs, and also the link to all the channels that I'm available on, that you can get in touch with me. And thanks a lot for watching. I am recording this live, so there's Twitch people that is on chat over here. Just want to shout out to the people who is already on stream right here. Lucio, Wams, hey man, thanks for staying until the end of this recording. Thanks for suffering through it. And if you enjoy, if you think this is helpful, please, oh, I forgot, I should just leave this one on, right? Is there any way? Hey guys, say hi to you too. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me on Twitch. And if you find this helpful or interesting in any way, please consider to like and subscribe to the channel. You are seeing an inception of Twitch stream over here, which is pretty funny to see actually. And yeah, see you in the next video. One other thing I want to mention, currently I have a Patreon set up, so if you want to further support me financially for the content that I do or for this channel, you can do that through Patreon. You can do that through Twitch, even YouTube members, whatever, things like that. Oh my god, this is an ad pop up. I want to turn it off. Yeah, but if you want to, you can have ways to support me further financially. But please remember, only do support me or anyone else if your financial situation is good. Do not, go overboard to support anyone else if you are not doing so well yourself. I have been through those kind of situation. I think I am currently somewhat in the same kind in that kind of situation. I would appreciate so much any extra support that I can get, but not in exchange for others, right? So yeah, if you like the content, again, like and subscribe. That is the best way to help me. And see you in the next video, or see you on stream, as I'm currently doing. And yeah, thanks so much for watching.